We got one other SEC matchup, Shay. Very much looking forward to this showdown. South Carolina at Arkansas. A
Mm-hmm.
lot on the line for both of these teams. South
Yeah.
Carolina trying to prove they're legit. Arkansas trying to prove that they belong among the SEC elite.
Mm-hmm.
And man, with what we saw in the opener, a little. I gotta be honest, Shane. I was a little bit disappointed with both these teams, but again, we don't want to overreact, but this is might sound kind of weird, but I kind of like it when teams struggle and they win the ball game because I think
Yeah.
that builds character and that just you need that if you're a good team. There ain't bad teams in the SEC that play average and win the game. You got to
Yeah.
be a hell of a good team to struggle and come out, and it's not like they barely won. South Carolina covered the spread, Arkansas covered the spread. So imagine how good these teams can be if they're firing on all cylinders, and they're probably both going to have to reach that level if they're going to win on Saturday in Razorback Stadium, don't you think?
Yeah, this is two programs that had a lot of hype coming into the season, and they kind of stumbled out of the gate. I mean, like you said, they both got the victory, which is important, and that's what matters most. But they didn't get it the way they wanted to, or the way the fans expected it to go down. So, obviously, there was a lot of mirror looking when they got back in that locker room, because they got to identify where they messed up. But how do they build off that? I think that's the key, man. Not just like you said, that grittiness and finding a way to win, but I think what's even more important is how quick can they fix problems. There's sometimes you watch a team and they got a situation that kind of lingers through 3 or 4 games, and maybe it costs them one or two. You can't. This is win now. The SEC, you got to win now. And which one of these teams, drinks their medicine and comes out here, in better shape. So I think that's what I'm looking for, is just the bounce back of these two programs. And I know it sounds crazy because they lost, or they didn't lose, but they won. Sorry, cut that part out. And I know that sounds crazy because they didn't lose the game, but again, it didn't start the way they wanted to.
Yeah, and I'm a little concerned, Shane, after rewatching all the openers here. Arkansas secondary, they left a lot of guys wide open. The Cincinnati quarterback just couldn't hit them. And now it sounds like Jalen Catalon and Miles Slusher are not going to be able to play. This, Sam Pittman, we'll get to his comments here in a second, but just, basically doesn't share much of anything on either of those players. So hopefully they're both back, but no indications at this point that they are. I think the real question for South Carolina is whether they can even block for Spencer Rattler to where the Gamecocks can take advantage of a potential issue on the Arkansas defense. But, I was a little bit impressed with South Carolina and their run defense. That was a real issue last season, but not that they completely shut Georgia State down, but this is going to be their toughest challenge yet of the season, trying to slow down these Arkansas Razorbacks. And it looks like Dominique Johnson, the bruising back for Arkansas, to go with Rocket Sanders and A.J. Green. They should all three be available for this matchup. Again, we hate to keep making the same points for every game, but Arkansas, if they have their way on the ground here, that's going to pave their way to another victory, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think more importantly on South Carolina's side, Spencer ran for his life many times last week.
Yeah.
They were unable to get that running game going. These hogs up front, they got to figure it out, because you better believe Arkansas is going to have them ears pinned. They've been watching this film and they cannot wait to play South Carolina, and that shouldn't be the case. But this South Carolina offense, and especially this offensive line, this isn't their first rodeo, but they have got to get it together, man. Because if they can't establish a run, or if they can't keep Spencer off the ground, then they don't have a shot.
Coach, after watching the film of Saturday, is there anybody or anything in particular that stood out that maybe you weren't expecting or anything?
I thought Landon Jackson and Terry Hampton and Dominique Jordan, I thought they all played well. Jordan Dominic, excuse me. I get that mixed up all the time. I'm sorry. I didn't get it mixed up. I knew who he was when he had that sack, picked that fumble up. Thought they all played well. we've got something there. We've got a little bit more depth. I was pleased with our wide receivers. I don't think we talked about them much in there, all of them. There was some, our O-line's got to play better. We've got to be more consistent. With our reads and different things on offense. Defensively, we've got to play better in the secondary. But all those things, none of it was we're not playing hard. Our eyes are in the wrong spot. We just didn't cover them sometimes, and we didn't block them sometimes, and we've got to get better. But if you look back last year, I think after the first game and to the second game, we improved quite a bit. And that's old coach's cliche, but that's pretty accurate. You should improve more in the second week. That really, you get game tape, you get live action, and so we look for a lot of improvement out of our team.
Do you have any update on Catalan, Slusher, and Isaiah Nichols?
Well, we're not ready really to figure out exactly Catalan's situation. We haven't, let's say that, I guess. Slusher's in the same boat there, and I think Nichols will be fine.
Cornerbacks stand now that you've seen them through one game, and did you get any clarity there?
Well, we have a lot of work to do. I think probably Nudie and Clark, Chavis would be another one that, there's still guys that need to get on the field somehow, but they got to practice better to do that. But I think those three right now are probably ahead of the rest of them at this point, but we'll see how practice goes.
Sam, what's your take on Rattler? Obviously a really heralded guy at OU, lost the job, but now he's starting again.
I like him. He plays like a guy that's played before, experienced, got a lot of poise, got a lot of, you just can feel his confidence through the film. I got a chance to watch the game a little bit live as well. Anytime you have a quarterback, so like KJ with us, he's either going to have through the whole team confidence about him, or the whole team reacts to me a lot about what your quarterback does. And you can kind of see that a little bit with South Carolina. They believe in him, and he runs the show well. And, for a guy that just, it was his first game, I thought he played really well.
Hey, you mentioned the Georgia game last year and the energy in the stadium. Before you went down there, Nakobe Dean was talking about the 2019 South Carolina game, which was a early start and you guys had lost, and he thought something to the effect that the lack of energy had probably cost him. Do you perceive that can sometimes be an issue for those early games, that it's hard for the players to get up for them?
Oh, I think it's more of an excuse. You get beat and you go, oh, well, it's 11 o'clock and the crowd was, you're supposed to be ready to play whether there's anybody in there. The crowd helps you. And that's why I want, I don't have to ask the Razorbacks to come out there. They've already sold 70-something thousand tickets. They'll be out there. And they enjoy coming, so they'll be loud. And they helped us last week. But I think as a coach, you worry about everything. You can worry just because I'm not worrying, and you can't. It's weird. But 11 o'clock game, we practiced 6 times, started at 10:15. That's not going to be the reason why we win or lose. But I'll say this: Georgia's crowd this year was deafening when we went out there, and it was a problem for us. Just like hopefully our crowd's going to be Saturday for South Carolina.
Now on the other side, Shane, I know you're gonna love this comment. So I got 2 little sections here for Shane Beamer, but last time Beamer was in Razorback Stadium, I believe he was saying here that he was on the Tennessee assistant staff. I think this was his first ever college job. He worked under Fulmer, if I'm not mistaken, and they had to play one Darren McFadden, who I know you're a big fan of, and of course he's a legend there in Fayetteville. So let's kick it over to Shane Bieber. You'll love these ones.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you on the staff when y'all went to Arkansas and Darren McFadden went for like 340 yards? Sorry, I know that's not the most fun memory, but
yeah, thanks. No, I was. I think that was my first year, 2007. 2007, yeah. McFadden, Peyton Hillis, and that was Felix Jones. Yeah, I think they each ran for like 500 yards apiece. My favorite memory of that game is I'm coaching defense, and I was coaching defense and special teams. And I'm a young coach. It's my first year on the staff. I mean, I'm coaching defense, but I'm taking a back seat to the older coaches on that defensive staff. And I'll never forget, this was after they've gone up and down the field on us, and I don't want to name names, but the defensive coordinator's on the field, and he's talking to one of the coaches in the press box. This is like second quarter. Or no, actually, I think it's early first quarter, and we can't stop them. It's obvious. And the defensive coordinator is talking to one of the coaches in the box, and the coach in the box is like, hang on a second, just don't say anything. I'm up here drawing. And the coordinator's like, you're up here drawing? He's like, yeah, I'm putting together a plan here that we can do some stuff to try and stop them. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, if we're up here drawing stuff up on paper right now in the middle of the first quarter, we're in for a long night. And we were. That was a long night in Fayetteville, and hopefully we play a lot better defensively than what we did that night.
All right, Shane. So, hey, that's just the kind of the way it is, man. When you're facing a legend like Darren McFadden, I don't care. You think you got a plan until you see him on the field, and you realize real damn quick we got no plan for this monster.
No, that's right. If you're drawing in the dirt, man, you're in trouble, brother.
But that's maybe what South Carolina's going to be facing this week with KJ Jefferson and the trio of running backs again, and these receivers. My goodness, Shane, again.
Yeah.
Arkansas, I said this on Twitter, and I believe it. I don't know if I said it on the show or not, but I think they played a C-type ball game last week.
Right.
And they had over 200 rushing, 200 passing like I predicted they would, because they just got so many weapons, and KJ Jefferson's so damn good that if they are firing on all cylinders, I don't know if anybody could slow them down.
No, and that's why you keep it away from them. I think that's the game plan, and that's what worries me about South Carolina is if they can't run the ball, they can't keep the chains moving, then all of a sudden you're giving KJ more opportunities to torch your secondary, and that's exactly what South Carolina doesn't want. So, again, that's got to be the emphasis, is just keep it away from them. Keep it away from the Razorbacks. Slow this game down a little bit. Don't let them get that fast tempo going, and then maybe you can hang on there. But I'm telling you, this is a tough get. And, I will say Arkansas's banged up. So there is a little bit to that, maybe an opportunity that Spencer can take advantage of. So we'll see soon enough.
Yeah, and good news for South Carolina, Shane. Christian Beal-Smith, the running back, he's expected to go for the first time. He was Wake Forest leading rusher the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Pair him with Marshawn Lloyd. You got a hell of a 1-2 back here at running back. Again, blocking could be an issue, but Spencer Rattler, I think, maybe it was too much to expect him to come out and firing on all cylinders, but if they can get him going with this receiving core, I really do think that he can take advantage of this secondary if he has time to throw the ball. And as Sam Pittman said, there may not be a better quarterback in the country that can throw on the run like Spencer Rattler. So he may be running for his life, but he's still a hell of an accurate quarterback on the run. Yeah. So you got to be careful of that. And even though the team is struggling here, Shane Beamer and company still pretty fired up about their team heading into Fayetteville.
Hey, Shane, we've been hearing for years now that the most improvement is between game 1 and game 2. Over the course of your career, is that really true? and also, when you look at first game mistakes, are they mainly mental or physical?
As far as the week 1 to week 2, I'd say I don't know if it's always accurate because we've won some week 1s and lost some week 2s, but I do think it is the improvement that you're able to make because you finally play a game. You really know what you need to correct, and maybe we thought we were this was going to be something we were good at or whatnot, and maybe it's not quite what we thought, or thought this guy would maybe handle this better and he didn't. So you have a better idea about yourself. So I think you're better prepared going into week 2 than you are week 1. You have a better understanding of how we do things. You try and prepare the guys for what the hotel's like and what the game day routine is like, but you don't actually do it for real until game day. So now this week will be not the first time we've done it. First time we've done it on a road. So you just have a better understanding from that standpoint, week 1 to week 2. And we will be better than what we were last week, but we won't be as good as we hope to be. I mean, we're constantly improving on this 12 guaranteed game opportunity, and this is the next step. And then as far as the mental and physical,
hey Shane, have you seen a heightened sense of urgency from the guys since SEC play is starting this week? And then also, how confident are you in Nick that he'll be able to step up if RJ is unable to go at safety?
Yeah, I think automatically there's going to be a heightened sense of urgency. There better be. I mean, we're into SEC play here pretty quick. And going on the road against a nationally ranked opponent to open up SEC play, you better have that urgency for sure. So our guys know, and again, each and every week we talk about us, and it's about us, and try not to prepare differently for Arkansas than what we did Georgia State. And they're all, other coaches use it, but it's true, just nameless, faceless opponents, and let's worry about us. But when you're going on the road in the SEC, it's different. Let's be real, and our guys know that, and the energy and spirit at practice this morning certainly reflected that. And then in regards to Nick, I have confidence. Torian and Clayton will do a great job, getting him ready. I mean, he stepped in the other night, and I want to say I was talking to Luke Day this morning about it. I want to say Nick played more snaps when you take his defensive snaps and special teams than any player on the team the other night. I mean, he was out there a bunch, and he did well. Now, just because it happened last week doesn't mean it's going to happen this week, and we've got to do a great job of getting him ready to go again, and maybe even more of a prominent role. Arkansas has tape on him now. Georgia State really didn't know much about him. So Nick will be fine, all those guys. And it's not just Nick. There's a lot of guys that will be playing their first road game this week. There's a lot of guys that haven't been in a stadium, like this, that have been in college football for a while. Juice Wells, I think Juice Wells played in a stadium like he's going to play in Saturday when he was at James Madison. So we got to do a great job of, worrying about what we can control, preparing ourselves, and at the end of the day, realize it's about us.
Had a couple of guys, defending that O-line on social media the last couple of days. We had a couple of guys come in here today say today was the best practice that they've had all season so far. Where is the atmosphere and the morale of the locker room right now coming into week 2?
As high as it's been, sky high. I mean, were there parts Saturday night that didn't look great? Sure. I think there's a lot of teams across the country that can say that. But at the end of the day, we didn't play well. We didn't play well overall in a lot of areas, in my opinion, and we still beat a team that's going to compete for the championship in their conference by 3 touchdowns. And the game was in control the entire fourth quarter. So a lot to correct on. Nobody's walking around patting ourselves on the back about Saturday night, but we know what the issues are. We know the group of guys that we have in that locker room, and there's no issues with anything besides getting ready to play or getting ready to go play Arkansas and be the very best we can be. So now our guys are excited, and I don't worry about them. Whatever the noise is out there, and it is what it is. But that's just part of, you're either every Saturday you're judged on 12 Saturdays, and we certainly need to be better this Saturday than what we were last.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to see them get McDowell a little bit more involved. That little joystick running around, they did a little bit of that in the passing game. So I'd like to see a little, because you're going to have to be creative. Especially if you can't run the ball, you got to, make some of these passes, these short passes, become basically long runs. So
yeah.
That's creativity, and that's on the OC. So we'll see how that plays out this week.
All right, next.